variables, these two values against each other because of partisanship, whether you're red or blue. But in reality, my friends, they work great in tandem. If we can bring them together, then we can create the energy and the change that we need right here in our classrooms. The first part of that formula, the first part of that American value and those ideals is always striving for excellence with personal responsibility. What does that mean? Excellence. It's not mediocrity. It's not being average. It's not just getting by. It's not just getting the grade. It's not just going to class. It's not just completing your teaching curriculum. It's not just getting the minimum funding to keep the doors open. It's not just fulfilling your requirements in the school board as a board of trustee, but it's striving for excellence, making sure that we're always improving in what we do. Regardless, if you get a B, get a B plus. If you get a B plus, get an A. If you get an A, get an A plus. If you get an A plus, get your extra credit. Half of you fainted already. Wake up. It means making sure that you excel in everything that you do. And it's something that my father taught me growing up. My mother was the one that said, yes, son, you're going to be a doctor. But my father was, son, I don't care what you do. Just be the best at it. You can be a janitor, you can be a musician. I played the trumpet back in the day. He says, just be the best musician you can. Be the best artist you can. Whatever you do, be good at it. That's that ideal. That's that magic. That's what separates us from any other country, is that we know what excellence means. We know that we can send a person to the moon when that was just a little fragment of an imagination. We know what we can accomplish as individuals and as a country. Personal responsibility means that it is up to you and only you to make that change. It is up to you to put the hours in your class. It is up to you to improve yourselves so that you can create a better world. Now, the second part of this equation of the value is service, and service to others with social responsibility. Knowing that our worlds are interconnected, knowing that your neighbor's health affects your own health, knowing that that park in your community is an opportunity not only for you but for your friends. The clean water that you consume is the idea of social responsibility that we have together as an organized government to take care of each other. Social responsibility means that if a child goes to bed without food, it is our child that goes to bed without food. That if you're graduating from college, you're going to make sure that your friends are graduating from college too. That's the idea and the beauty of this country, because we know how to strive for excellence and achieve the impossible, not just for personal gain and live in our own cocoons, not just to live in a vacuum and hide from society and enjoy the wealth that we may create, and wealth is good. When we help others achieve their dream and lift everybody up as a community and working together. That means that we move a little bit from just a me idea to a little more of a we idea. That we're all in this together. And that together we can get ourselves out. Together, for example, we can work in motivating our kids, our nephews and nieces, the kids in the streets, the junior high kids to graduate from high school. We can motivate our elementary students to dream of becoming scientists. And it is our responsibility to provide the venues for them to achieve their success through the STEM programs that you are offering in this school. It's our opportunity to introduce more technology into the classrooms so that our students will no longer learn from dilapidated, underfunded books and equipment, but have the World Wide Web and access to the brightest minds in the globe so that we can start competing in a global level. It is our opportunity to create funding programs for those that are in the lower middle income categories so they can go to school and not have to work 2 jobs just to pay for their college education. It's our social responsibility to make sure that we work together and see ourselves not as a victim or the problem, but see ourselves as the solution to our country's problems. Every single one of you in this room has that responsibility to your country, to your community, and to your neighborhood. Every single one of you, by the mere fact that you're sitting in these seats and studying, means that you have the capacity to better yourself in order to serve others. I remember being in medical school and calling home, and my mother used to, every once in a while, remind me of how lucky I was to be able to go to college. How lucky I was to be able to study medicine. And she would say, "Mijo, no sabes qué tan orgullo tenemos de ti, que le damos gracias a Dios que te dio la oportunidad de estudiar." You don't know how proud we are of you and your studies, and that God gave you that opportunity to study and to learn. And you have a purpose. And that purpose was always to come home and to serve others, to do so. I learned a lot from my mother. I'm going to close by telling you a story that of a value that she taught me when I was young. I was about 8 years old, and my mother used to drive to the border towns to do some errands. And it's a long, hot, boring ride to that border town.
Is it ever?
It was miserable. But she would coax me, or I guess bribe me into going with her. As a reward, she said, "Son, when we go, I will buy you a mango." And mangoes are my favorite food. Mangoes, however you like to call them. My favorite food. And we're not talking about just any mango. We're talking about those really big mangoes that are like the size of cantaloupes, that they cut in the shape of a flower, and they sprinkle lime and put a little chili powder on top. Yeah, see, I eat a lot of it. And they're juicy and delicious. And all I could think about is like, "Mama, are we done yet? Mama, are we done yet? Mama, are we done yet? I want to eat this mango. I want you to buy me that mango." So we go and finally we finish, and she bought me this mango, and I had it in my hands, and it was juicy, and it just looked like the best mango in the world. Then a 6-year-old boy comes up. He was barefoot, ripped jeans, dirty clothes, and he had the hungriest eyes. He was looking at my mango. And I looked at the boy, looked at my mango. And I looked at the boy, looked at my mango. And then my mother grabbed the mango from my hand and gave it to that little boy. And then that little boy walked away with my mango. And I stood there, looking at my mom, looking at the boy, looking at my mom and the boy, and seeing that boy walk away with that juicy mango. Greg, we gotta stop buying you a mango. And I learned something. I learned something from a young age, that no matter how much money we had or we didn't have, no matter how much education we had or we didn't have, there's always somebody else that we can help. There's always somebody else that you can lend a helping hand. There's always a wrong that you can study so that you can make right. There's always a purpose that drives you in the most profound corners of every cell in your body that you live for. There's always a dream that's incubating in your imaginations and your hopes and your aspirations that is just waiting to manifest itself in your actions and in your future. But as you contemplate that dream and pay homage to that dream, I want to ask you one thing. And if you can remember only one thing from this talk, and you think about that American dream, that is essentially a collection of all of our individual collective dreams, I want you to remember this. When you dream,